What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Super Gamer Boys. I am your host, Colonel and Dad, Garrett Morlang, and here in the virtual studio with me is the king of video games and resident superstar, Adrian Holmes. What's up, Adrian?
What's going on, man? I am exhausted after this past weekend, but it's the best kind of tired you could be. How about yourself?
I'm hanging in there. I'm also extremely exhausted. I don't know. We kind of talked about it yesterday. We're like, do we do a show to Monday? Like, we're so tired. We just wanted to break.
We left it all on the floor. We gave you everything we had.
Yeah. If you guys don't know what we're talking about, this last pretty much 4 or 5 days, starting Thursday, we had Summer Game Fest. We streamed live our reactions and then gave our thoughts on the shows. So that was like 4 hours on that day. We did another couple hours on Saturday with the Wholesome Direct. So we had Summer Game Fest, Day of the Devs, Wholesome Direct, and then Sunday we did a couple hours of the Xbox Bethesda showcase, watching that live or live streaming our reactions, and then also giving our thoughts and kind of debriefing on everything. So go check it out for sure. It's all up at youtube.com/supergamerboys. It's already getting some love over there, which is fun to see those numbers pop up there. So if you know of anyone, or if yourself you missed out on those shows just watching yourself, go check out ours. That way you get the show, you can see it, you can hear it, while getting our thoughts and commentary and reactions on the whole thing. So
Now, before we go any further, I would just like to note for the record book how quickly the tables do turn. Now, if you haven't picked it up, dear listener, Mr. Purdom is no longer with us this evening. He is not on the episode, but had the gall to criticize me for helping out a friend of ours when they were in a jam. And where is he? He's not even there for us.
Yeah,
I just want that for the record books. I want that noted.
That is interesting, because I think I even said last week, like, wow, you've been out for quite a few weeks in a row. You haven't missed. He's like, yeah, it's great. I'm loving it. And then I think what had happened is I got in his head, spooked him, and he's like, shoot, like, yeah, it's been too many weeks. I need to cut out.
I've been doing too well. I gotta start slacking off again.
I gotta break this streak. But what was interesting in the text he sent us, there was a couple reasons he gave for why he's not going to be here, but he mentioned one thing about going to like some WWE event with his buddy for his other podcast. So in a way, he's cheating on us with another podcast, just like you did. He's going to a WWE show.
Technically under the umbrella, so I'll let that part slide. But it is another podcast.
Yeah, I don't know about that. Yeah, I don't think that's happening tonight. He had something else tonight, but yeah, he was mentioning I guess so you guys know, next Monday he will not be with us, and I think that's when that WWE event is. I'm like, dude, what? Like, are you kidding me? Just so you have some content for your other podcast. Like, all right, I see how it is.
Let him have it. Just if you happen to listen to the podcast, maybe keep a nickel in your pocket just in case you run across JJ.
Yeah.
You might see him out on the corner with his little cup out there shaking. Arms for the poor. Back out on the streets.
Oh man, yeah. So not here tonight with us. And as far as I know, he's not even here in spirit, because he could care less about this podcast. That's how I feel. He's just totally ditched us.
I at least came and checked on you after I was done.
Yeah, that's true.
Just remember that.
I know we were like talking smack, and I looked down at the chat. I'm like, oh shoot, he's here. JJ, calm down. Tone it down a little bit. Today, if you don't know what this show's about because you don't support us over at Patreon, we're going to be talking about Summer Game Fest and all the cool stuff we saw. But first, let's give a quick shout out to those awesome people who support us over at Patreon. Just like our Patreon producers, Kojima, Bleep Bloop, and Eddie Martin, and our Super Gamer sponsors, Julie Bates and Mama Mare. shout out to those awesome folks, as well as the rest of them. There's more in the show description that support us, and even more that their names aren't on there at that $1 level. We're going to talk more about our Patreon later on, but I do want to tell you a couple things that you can get by supporting us at patreon.com/supergamerboys, such as episodes early and ad-free, whether it's this show or a very special show that Adrian hosts, Super Gamer Book Club. The newest episode on there that you can get right now if you support us at Patreon, starting at just $1 a month. Super Mario World. We talked all about the ins and outs of that game. We played through it. It's fantastic time with
masterpiece
Patrick and Mark from Nintendo Cartridge Society. So go check that one out for sure. You have to support us, like I said, to get a hold of that one. Otherwise, if you're still on the fence or wondering if you want to support us, check out some of our older episodes. We do put out the older book club episodes for free. Go to any podcast services or our YouTube channel, youtube.com/supergamerboys, and listen or watch an episode. The new free episode this month is Streets of Rage 4 with Eddie Martin, which has actual gameplay. So normally we don't actually play the game while we record, but we did that time. So you can listen to it on podcast or watch us beat the crap out of some bad guys in the streets of rage. This month's episode that's upcoming at the end of this month is Crisis Core Final Fantasy VII for PSP. Boy, it's honestly incredible what they're able to put on the PSP, the technology that goes into that. But yeah,
it was far ahead of its time.
So support us at Patreon if you want to make sure to get that as soon as it drops at the end of this month. We'll talk more about our Patreon later in the show, but let's give a quick shout out to Jack Sriracha and Yate for allowing us to use their music on the show. I don't know if you noticed. Actually, let me check to make sure. Okay, it is working. My OBS does weird things. You all know that. You've heard me talk about it in the past. You can hear that little music in the background. That is Jack Sriracha and Yate making incredible tunes that just help give our podcast a little more laid back tone that I appreciate. And I appreciate them for allowing us to use it without, striking us down with a copyright infringement or something like that, or shutting down our channel. They're
letting us
folks.
Catch a break.
Yeah, right. So go check out their music. You can find the description, the links in the show description below on YouTube, on podcast services. Find them on Spotify and Apple Music. I think is the main place you can stream those. All right, it's now time to check the mail.
I'm gonna level with you. I have no bit. I am dead tired.
Nothing. You don't even have like a video from like Jeff Keighley. Does Jeff Keighley have a cameo? That's what I want to know.
I feel like he wouldn't have time.
But I mean, if he did, I wonder. Although we'd have to pay for one of those like the commercial cameos, and they're always way more expensive, right?
Hey guys, it's me, Jeff Keighley. I just wanted to say to watch the Super Gamer Boys and also use Gillette. Thanks.
Yeah, he definitely does not have a cameo. Does Kojima have a cameo? No, does not. Tommy Earl Jenkins does. Tommy Earl Jenkins from Death Stranding. That'd be sick.
Really?
That'd be sick. Not gonna lie.
Norman Reedus doesn't have one?
Let me see. Norman? No, he does not. He doesn't have enough time. He's too busy riding motorcycles and starting restaurants.
Does Troy Baker have one?
No, Troy Baker's too good for that. He's
too busy being in indie games.
He's in indie games, and he wanted to do NFTs of his voice, right? That was the big thing that happened like 6 months ago.
Yeah, and then everybody was like, hey, dummy, if you let an AI do your voice, you won't be able to do your own voice.
NFTs are quite the thing, huh?
How did they talk him into doing that?
Yeah, right.
Like almost doing that.
I don't know. NFTs are one of those things that blow my mind though, because I feel like no one talks about them anymore. Like that was like all you heard on Twitter for a month straight, 2 months straight, and then like I feel like I haven't heard the word.
And then they tanked, and then everybody said, "Oh yeah, this is kind of dumb," and then walked away.
I haven't seen the word NFT on Twitter in 6 months, and it's great. Let me tell you, I love it. Anyways, it's time for the mail. just imagine Jeff Keighley introducing our his mailbag segment.
Hey everyone!
And like imagine him on stage of the Game Awards with the symphony behind him playing, and he's like, "Now let's see what the listeners sent in. Bye-bye. And then it comes down. Like
presented by DC's Black Adam.
Yeah, right. There we go. Perfect. Nailed it. This let's see. Oh, hang on. I just noticed the chat. I always forget to check the chat once in a while because we do stream this live on Monday evenings while we're recording it. Twitch.tv/the Super Gamer Boys. Skylon's in the chat and he said, I thought that was just Adrian humming a tune like a champ, talking about the background music. So
oh, I wish I was that talented.
I just that picture of you like just off camera, like with a little like, because like the song I hear just right now,
just doing like this.
Yeah. Well, the song I'm hearing
like
right now,
there's an extra mic right here.
Yeah. You can't hear it, unfortunately, Adrian. I can hear it in my ears, but there's like sounds like a flute or like a whistle going like right now. It's like really like soft. Mm-hmm. So I imagine you like just off frame, like like playing a little like flute or something.
Or like there's just one right there and I have like some compressed air and I'm just shooting it right there just enough to make it seem like I'm blowing into the flute.
Man. And he also says, I sent you a raven with the questions this week, my boys. So keep an eye out for that raven, I guess.
Oh, no.
We might not get that one until next week. That's all right. I'll keep an eye out for it. Speaking of ravens, actually, I just keep going on tangents. I'm sorry. My office, I don't know what it is. It's a shed off, like away from the house. It's totally disconnected from the building. You know, you've been here. I don't know why the last like 3-4 months, not ravens, but these giant crows love to like land on the roof, like in a ton of them. There'll be like 15 or 20 of them, like just cover the top of the roof, and they're loud because they're so big and heavy. So they're like thump, 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 like when they walk around. Yeah. And then they're like, and then they peck the roof. So they're like, and they're like fighting with each other. So all of a sudden you hear like, like one kind of like roll around or like their wings flap and like go crazy. It pisses me off.
You got to get you one of those owls.
Oh, you know,
like fake ceramic owls you can put up there. You got to get one and put it up there.
That's what
then they'll leave. Or a falcon one.
Something. Yeah, I need to get something up there, like those little like bird spikes, little plastic strips that have like just the little pokies that they don't like. I need to get something up there because it's like during the day when I'm trying to work in here, it's just like thump, 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 thump. Like it sounds like there's like one of my kids are jumping around on the roof. I'm like, what the heck? Go away, you dang crows.
One day you're going to look up there and it's your youngest son just in a crow costume. It's been you the whole time.
All right, let's get to the questions for y'all now. Sir Printsalot writes in and asks, product placement in video games is weird to think about. Do you think that could ever become a normal thing where someone like Nathan Drake drinks Pepsi products and talks about using Just for Men hair products in cutscenes? What would be some funny in-game product placements? Now, he asks that as if it doesn't already happen. And so I want to just bring up probably one of my favorite ones, and I know you already know what I'm gonna say, because it's a game I talk about every week. I try to, anyways.
The Monster Energy
drink in Death Stranding. It's like, what the heck? Now they took it out in the director's cut. Kojima Productions finally had enough money.
Ran out.
Yeah, well, either the license ran out or they finally had enough money to just design their own can because they didn't have that extra $100 to hire an artist to make a can or something. But in the original, yeah, he drinks a Monster Energy drink. Like he doesn't drink water. Nope. He's never touched a bottle of water in his life.
Isn't this like doesn't Death Stranding take place in like the 2200s or something like that?
I don't know exactly, but it's definitely in the future.
So you're telling me Monster Energy of all drinks is the only one that was able to survive
the apocalypse
a couple 100 years.
And the best part is the water bottle, because I'm pretty sure this is a mechanic. When it's raining outside, it refills your canteen, but it filters it and turns it into Monster Energy drink. Like that's the whole thing. Like, so your canteen is filled with Monster Energy drink when you go to a rest station, and then when it starts raining outside, it filters the water as it drips down your suit into the canteen and converts it into Monster. So you just have like a little like Monster Energy like factory on your hip the whole time. I'm like, why?
How is Sam fit to be a delivery man? Because his kidneys have to be shot by now. It's no way. All that monster, his kidneys got to be gone. His teeth definitely have to be taking a look at him. Good grief.
Yeah, I don't know.
His heart's probably pounding out of his chest all the time.
Yeah, imagine living off of just straight monster. Like that's like, yeah, like it's one thing to be like, I don't know. I know there's people who drink a lot of it, but in my head, it just doesn't make sense to drink it and then go be active like that.
I don't know.
Like maybe if you're gonna like go for like a quick little workout or something, but he's like hiking mountains and stuff, and like just 24/7 Monster Energy drink, like nothing else to wash it down. I don't know. So it's not when I didn't make that up, unfortunately, like your question asked me to, but I feel like it's pretty hilarious and pretty wild.
He could, or he could drink some Monster, or he can drink some what's that stuff that everybody's using? Oh, the gamer subs.
G Fuel?
You can use some of that. Yeah. Sponsor us, one of those companies. We need some free stuff.
I mean, G Fuel, I feel like sponsors everyone. Like, I'm surprised that we, I don't know. I guess I should reach out to them. Who knows? They probably will sponsor.
Say, can we get some free? Yeah.
I feel like there's like so many streamers, like, and they're large, small, in the middle, like all over the place, and they all get sponsored by G Fuel. So I should hit them up. Be
I'll
drink
some G Fuel.
I'll drink some G Fuel. I don't care. Man. Is there any cutscene or any product placements that have been in games that you wanted to mention, or like, or even like a funny idea?
You have to go, of course, with KFC in Crazy Taxi. That goes without saying. That you're driving around town, driving your fares, and you're driving by like KFCs and Pizza Huts, and that was back in what 98, 99. So that's one of my all-time, like, that's probably the first time that I actually ever saw an ad in a game. Granted, they made it look like part of the game, but just the fact that they were there is like, I actually know, I've been to that place. So it was kind of a trip.
That's awesome. Let's see. We have something new in the chat here. GZDR for Ev. Sorry, if I butchered your name. In 2032, Taco Bell was the only fast food restaurant to survive in Demolition Man.
This is a fair point.
So yeah, we're talking about so there's Monster Energy drink in the future. There's Taco Bell. Man, that's great. Oh, they also mentioned Fuddruckers being in Call of Duty Modern Warfare 1.
Was that really in there?
I can't.
Am I gonna have to go back and?
I can't. What? Now, was it actually Fuddruckers, or did it just look like it, but with like a different name? I feel like that's what it was. It was like the same like logo and font and like building, but like I don't think it was actually called Fuddruckers, if I remember right. I could be wrong, but I think that's what it.
I gotta keep talking. I'm gonna Google this. Find something.
Okay. Well, I mean, I can start reading the next question here, because I think we don't have much more to add to that last one. But this next one, Penguin90 asks, "What's your guys' most stressful game you've ever played?" And I would have to say, I think the most stressed I've ever been is, I don't know. I mean, obviously there's moments in games where I'm extremely stressed. I think of Resident Evil 8 with the freaking dollhouse, and when you're in the basement with that.
Is that stressed or scared?
Both. I don't know. Can it be both? I think pure, because I mean, to me, they generally go hand in hand. I feel like if I'm stressed because I'm scared something is going to get me or come out, like something's going to pop out. I'm afraid of the jump scare. I think though, if I just want pure, a pure form of that, where like the whole game I played was stressful. It's actually a multiplayer game. I played on Steam, played it with my brother, called Devour. I don't know if you've ever heard of it. I think you have up to like 4 players, and the idea is basically like you're part of a cult trying to like summon this demon or whatever. Without, and there's also like the cult leader is in the house and slowly turning into the demon, but you have to like avoid her because she's like trying. I don't know. It's weird. Like she's trying to stop you, but you're trying to make it happen.
If you're the members though, why is she trying to stop
I'm
you?
not saying it's a great story. You know, I'm just saying this is
wouldn't you
this is what's going on. But
it would make sense if you were doing tasks to help her bring forth whatever it is.
I think the idea is that she's being overtaken by this demon more and more throughout as you start doing the task, and so she's just turning more like into an animal, basically, just coming after you. And anyways, yeah, at any moment, like it's just so terrifying. Like as you're going through the hallways, just where is she? Where's she at? And then you see her, and you're just like booking it, like run, get out of there, go. Oh man, like it's this constant nonstop stress because it's like at any moment, like she could just be there, and sometimes you can outrun her. The worst part is at the beginning when it first came out, there was collision with other players, so like it was a really skinny hallway, and you try to run past, like I tried to run past my brother and I couldn't. I get stuck on him. They're like, no, get out of the way. And then she'd grab me and like he'd be safe and fine. I'm like, dang it, like why? Get out of the dang way. Oh man.
I would say mine for sure, one of the most stressful ones, if not the most stressful one, because I've actually been in this situation and I used to work this job for a number of years, is playing Overcooked. Playing Overcooked with other people is one of the most stressful things that you could do in a video game.
There's a key thing you said there too, with other people. I feel like when I play it alone, it's like it's a little stressful, but it's like, oh, I can kind of like manage, and I more just get frustrated like when things go wrong. With other people, that's an extra layer that you mentioned there. Like you get like, come on, do the thing. Why aren't you doing that? Hurry up. Like,
exactly. It's like, I know what you need to do. I can't understand why you're not doing it. Yes. You know what I mean? Like why can't you just take my brain electrons and just, let's all be in sync.
Yeah.
But it never
happens.
Like,
it's too hard to...
You're like, dude, put the sushi roll, put the wrap down so I can have the rice ready to go. And they're like, I'm trying. And everybody's screaming. And then you get to the end and everybody goes, ugh.
Oh, man, so good. And then...
That game will put a knot in your shoulders real quick.
I love that game. I was so good. I tried playing with my wife for a little bit, and... she enjoyed like the first couple levels, but it ramps up quick, at least for her. Like she pretty much has zero video game, like, I don't know the word you would use, but skill
experience.
There you go. I didn't want to say skills because that sounds really derogatory, but yeah, experience. Because she just didn't really grow up with that. Like her brothers like kind of played, but like on and off, like not super like too much. So yeah, just holding a controller, like using an analog stick is so foreign and weird to her and stuff like that. So she can do the first couple levels, and then after that it's just like impossible. And I'm like, okay, yeah, well, I guess I'll find someone else to play with or just do it solo. Or yeah, it's such a fun game. CJM writes in and wanting to add on to Penguin's question. By the way, they wrote these in to our Discord. If you go over to supergamerboys.com/Discord, you can join us over there, and we talk and chit chat throughout the week. And we have a board on there where you can send in your questions for the show. When was the last time you rage quit a game?
Ooh.
Now, for me,
like quit for good.
If
it's not quit for good, it's Elden Ring.
Okay. For me, it is quit for good, and it was Sekiro, Shadows Die Twice. That game, really? I was just getting so pissed off. I don't even think it was a full boss. I think it was just one of like a mini boss, or I don't even know if it's a mini boss because I think I could bypass it. Like I think it was just an area though. I was trying to clear out a certain area, and I just kept dying over and over and over, and it was literally like,
nope,
couple hours of just like ready to just grind the controller in half, just like I was so pissed off, and I'm like, okay, I'm done. I literally quit out, uninstalled it, turned off the PlayStation. I've never touched Sekiro since. Like I was done. I'm like,
thank goodness, because you were getting ready to lose the controller.
Oh, I was so close, dude. It was not enjoyable at all. I mean, you guys all know I'm bad at video games, and then when it's a From Software game like that, it's like, oh, forget it. Oh man, I got so ticked off. So Elden Ring though, I mean, you said though not for good. It was just like, did you get to a boss that kind of like finally hung you up or something, or?
Yeah, the Tree Sentinel. For the longest time, the Tree Sentinel. And
did you eventually beat him though?
Yeah, no, I beat him.
Okay.
It's just trying to find and learn the pattern after a while. And when you want to rage quit the most is when you got him like to this much health left.
Yes.
And he does this one move you didn't predict. and it kills you.
The shields, the tree sentinel with a stupid shield that reflects magic. So I'm a magic build. So I'll be like, blam, blam, blam. And yeah, he'll have like a sliver of health. And then I, wind up and blam, send out my spell. Boom, reflects it. One shot kill. Boom, dead. I'm like, no, he was literally one shot away and he reflected my own bolt back at me. I was like, I didn't even know he could do that. Like, man, it ticked me off.
At that millisecond, Garrett, nothing on this planet would feel better than taking that controller and hurling it as hard as I can through my window. No joke, dude.
Yeah.
I'll immediately regret it like everybody else on Earth, but just for that split second, man, I know it would feel good.
My problem is what I finally realized is like I'm just way too underleveled, but it was one of those things where like he's here, so I want to beat him so badly. I think I spent like a good hour trying to cheese it. I found out where if you use your horse, you could jump over on top of this one building that's right there next to him, and he can't get up there, so he's like down below swinging and missing you. And with spells, I was able to go shoot it over the edge, but again, I'd get him like almost there, and then it was almost like the game wanted to keep me from cheesing. All of a sudden, like it would glitch out, and then like one of the sword strikes would randomly hit me like through the building. I'm like, wait, what? Like I literally chunked him down to like
it expands his radius.
Yeah,
or something
I chunked him down to like a little sliver, and then all of a sudden this attack comes out of nowhere, and I'm dead. Like, are you kidding me? Because I so badly wanted to cheese it right at the beginning. I was like, I can do this. I can cheese it, and like, no, the game.
Even if you did, you get a weapon that's like, oh yeah, I can't use this for like 50 more levels.
Yeah. Well, I mean, with a magic build too, like I barely use most of the weapons that drops anyway. That's a fair point. Like I'm just using like really basic swords and stuff. So, man, crazy. This next question comes from. Excuse me, I'm dying.
Never heard of that person before.
All right, I'm good. I don't know what happened. I got spit right down the wrong tube. Kojima Jr., as you all know him better by. Y'all have been doing great stuff for the past few years now, and I want to give y'all congratulations. Oh, thanks, Good Junior.
Thank you, good sir.
Alongside that, knowing what you know now, what are some different steps you would have taken if you had the perfect information? So kind of like, hey, if you could go back and tell yourself one thing or give yourself some tips, like what would you do differently, or like what would you tell earlier yourself as far as Super Gamer Boy stuff? I'll
put some. Oh, go ahead.
But no, go ahead. You go. I want to hear what you guys say.
I was gonna say, put more money aside. You can get you a better PC, even if it's just a little rinky-dink thing. Make sure that it can at least handle streaming. That's it. Everything else, it's the same with.
Yeah. For me, like I don't know if I would change much, because I mean, we wouldn't have learned what we learned without doing those things, right? So, I don't know. I think the main thing. So this is something that I not only have I learned, but I've also this is something I've actually learned a lot over the last few years, or I've known for the last few years, but I just am still very poor at implementing it. And that's having guests on the show. I wish we would have started doing it sooner. And by that, I mean, I wish we would have just started doing it, because we still haven't started doing it. Like every once in a while, we'll have a guest. Like we used to have like Boba Fletch on. I mean, before you were part of the show, we'd have you on. Like we would have guests. We'd have, before Zetch was a host, he was a guest. Matt Liu back in the day, one of our Patreon producers we had on the show. Dan from Wales. He was on the show. Dan Jam.
Before he disappeared.
Before he disappeared off the face of the earth. So I now that I've just
listened, we can get back to that.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's like
it's nothing stopping us.
Yeah, like now that I listed off, I'm like, oh, we actually have had quite a few guests on, but I feel like that's something that I even though we did a lot back in the day, I wish we did it more, and I wish we were still doing it more now. The main reason we don't is because I'm just poor at planning, because I got so much else going on. But dude, like, yeah, that's something I wish that right from the beginning we were always doing, and doing it like constantly, because guests they're fun to have, just to hear different perspectives and stuff. Absolutely. and then yeah, we get to hear, we get to just share audiences too. Like it helps us grow. So even from like a logistical, like helping grow the show, it helps us, it helps them, whoever, whether they're a streamer or YouTuber or something. And so
you know what else I would do? I would probably stay on Kojima, on his case, so that he could have continued to manage our TikTok account and make those edits.
Oh yeah, remember that?
Yeah, remember that? That was a good little, chunk of views and stuff we were getting.
Yeah.
Oh, I'll do it for you. I'll edit them for you. And then he got a case of the big head, started streaming.
Yeah. He left.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
left us in the dust.
Those TikTok edits were done by me. Those weren't done by him.
Well, he did something. He was doing something
he
for
gave,
us, wasn't he?
He gave the idea to us.
Oh, see, I thought he was supposed to be doing them.
That's what I thought too. I thought he mentioned that, but now he's a professional streamer. Actually, you can go check out Kojima.
Yeah, he's too big for us now. He'd probably make us. You gotta put it in. You gotta sponsor him now. You gotta give him a little bit of the.
Well, I mean, he
Rooney.
He is a Patreon producer, so I mean, we can show off his stuff on our show, I guess, a little bit. Twitch.tv/Kojima01. I think that's it. Yeah, go check him out. But we make fun of him, but I mean, come on, he did offer. He's like, oh, you should do more TikTok. I'll help you, and then he ghosted us. But he's making cool stuff over on Twitch now, playing some games. So
he had his fingers crossed behind his back.
All right, this last question comes from Eddie Martin. He asked, two questions here actually. Who's everyone's favorite Ninja Turtle? We'll start with this first one. What's everyone's favorite Ninja Turtle here?
Ooh. Good question. If I had to say one, here's the thing. Everybody loves to say Raph because he's the coolest looking one, right? He's got the red bandana. He's got the size. He's got the attitude. I get it, right? And I feel like Mikey is not a lot of people's favorite, but I think that he will be a lot of people's choice to hang out with because he's the fun guy. He's the one that's cracking the jokes. Here's my thing. I think a lot of people see Leo as a square because, he's the leader, quote unquote. He's the one that has to, take charge all the time. But people forget that he's like the same age as him, and he does from time to time have his fun out of character moments too. So deep down, he's one of the guys. He just has to be a leader most of the time. We only ever see them when there's something going on, right? So that's why we always see him in leader mode. But think about when nothing's going on. I'm sure he's right next to him doing all that, shenanigans that they always do. So I'm gonna pick Leo. Because he is the best of both worlds. Okay. He's a turtle when it's time to be a turtle bro, and he's a leader when it's time to be a leader.
That's interesting because I was also going to say Leo. I'm split. I was split between Leo and Michelangelo. I like the younger one actually because he's goofy and silly. But I like Leonardo because I'm also like, I don't know, I feel like I can resonate with him with my personality. I'm a little more serious, a little more like type A, keep it together guys, like come on. Plus, like I feel like both of them have the coolest weapons, like the freaking katanas with Leo and Michelangelo's nunchucks, right? Like I don't know. I've always wanted to learn how to use nunchucks.
You say that until you hit yourself one good time, and then you're like, all right.
That's what's kept me from learning them. Is I had a buddy in college who had a set, and I wasn't even doing it fast. I was just doing like a little like, okay, I got this, like back and forth like this, and then I'm like, how do I stop? Like, what am I doing? Like, I don't. And the next thing you know, like, wham, like right into my elbow. I'm like, oh, okay, well, oh no, here you can have these back.
Fool around and knock your teeth out.
So, but yeah, so. I mean, Leo has katanas, Michelangelo has freaking nunchucks. I'm like, those are the coolest weapons. Like, come on, like a bow staff and the sai, like, yeah, whatever.
And again, this is just because we had to pick a favorite. I love all of them. I just want to make that clear. They all have certain aspects that, make them the team that they are. So I wouldn't have it any other way.
Yeah. All right. Well, oh, and then his second question here, I forgot. Give me your Mount Rushmore of 80s and 90s cartoons.
No, we can't do that in a Mount Rushmore. There's far too many that deserve to be up there.
Okay.
From that era.
All right.
We could spend an entire episode doing that, but we would need JJ because he would have the 80s cartoons on lock. I only have a couple of them.
I mean, he was like 20 when in the 80s, so I mean, he was already done watching.
I mean, he was a good 40.
He was done.
You're being nice.
He was done watching cartoons. He wasn't watching shows at that point.
Yeah, he was. It's JJ.
Yeah, that's true. I'll give mine. I'm courageous enough to give mine.
Okay, go ahead.
Speaking of courage, Courage the Cowardly Dog, I think would be up there. Fantastic one. One of the I love it because it's funny. It has so much creepiness and awkwardness to it. Like I love that.
Terrifying at times.
Yeah, there's like for a kids show, going back and watching it as an adult, I'm like, why was this on Cartoon Network? Why was this on TV? Why did my parents let me watch this? Like it was like such a creepy, like
they didn't know what you were doing.
Show. We'd like watch it together on the couch though. Like we'd like hang out and it was just normal.
And I'm sure like when you were sitting on the floor, your dad was looking at you like, what?
What is wrong with my kid?
What is this?
Am I raising a serial killer? Hey Arnold. We've talked about that a few weeks back when I brought up Hey Arnold. I love that show.
Okay.
Fantastic. Angry Beavers. That was
in Mount Rushmore.
Oh, dude. Angry Beavers was one of those, like, anytime it was on, for us, it was like a family affair. Like we'd turn it'd come on and be like, hey everyone, Angry Beavers is on. Like everything in the house stopped. My parents loved it. Me and my brother loved it. We would just die laughing. Like, oh my gosh. I'm
not saying it wasn't a funny show. It was a great show. But to put it on Mount Rushmore, that's a big, big ask.
I think in hindsight, I haven't watched it in a while. I would say it would be, and I don't know. Yeah, it'd be interesting to watch it now as an adult. I don't think I've ever watched it as an adult. So everything I remember is just from when I watched it then, like any lines and quotes and stories and stuff. But it was so good. And then my fourth one, there's a lot of different versions of it throughout the 80s and 90s. But I feel like it's just like so classic. I think it's actually earlier than 80s, but again, like I said, there's different versions throughout that time period. Is Scooby-Doo.
You gotta be way more. There's 1,000 shows of Scooby-Doo.
Okay, Scooby-Doo. Let's just say, I think this one was the 80s, but I mean, I watched it in the 90s, obviously, because I'm not that old. But I remember on Boomerang, Scooby-Doo and Scrappy-Doo. Was that one of them? Scooby-Doo and Scrappy-Doo? I think that was a series, right? Okay,
was it those two and Shaggy?
I think so.
And Daphne?
Or if I had to pick one from the 90s, a pup named Scooby-Doo. That one was fantastic.
Thank God. I was wondering if you were going to say it or not.
There you go. I said it.
You want to talk about a bona fide classic.
Yeah, pup named Scooby-Doo. If I had to pick a 90s one there, kind of go over with the rest of my 90s shows. I didn't really go too much 80s, but yeah, that's a pup named Scooby-Doo, Angry Beavers, Hey Arnold, Courage the Cowardly Dog. I think those are top.
All right. I'll give you a couple. For sure, Gargoyles is going up there. One of the best stories how should I put it? One of the best 90s cartoons there ever has been. You're looking at me like you don't know what Gargoyles is. There's no way.
No, I know Gargoyles.
Okay.
I didn't watch it a ton, but when I did, I loved it. But that was one of those, it was like almost too dark. I can't remember exactly, but I feel like it was something like my parents didn't like. They're like, it's a little too dark, a little too like scary or whatever. Like,
but Courage was okay.
Courage is fine. Courage is great. Gargoyles was a little earlier than Courage, I feel like. Wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
So I would have been younger when Gargoyles was big, where by the time Courage came around, I was a little older. Mm-hmm. So there's that.
I mean, it's no surprise that I got the Batman the Animated Series in there.
Oh, so good.
One of the greatest cartoons, or I should say animated series of anything ever. There has yet to be, I mean, it's definitely in the top 10 ever made.
What are your thoughts on Batman Beyond?
Also excellent.
Okay.
Just not it's like they're kind of like this, I would say. But animated series always gets that edge. Like if somebody were to say I like Batman Beyond better than the animated series, I couldn't fight them on that. But just as a complete product, there's no touching Batman the animated series.
Yeah.
And then so those are my two for I'll say on the darker side. And then on the lighter side, let's see. I'm trying to go through my Rolodex now. 'Cause I'm telling you, it's a ton of different. I'm trying to think of something that represents that era.
Yeah, no, that's the thing is there's so much. There's so many options. I feel like you can't say anything and be wrong.
We lived in a golden age.
We really did. It's pretty incredible. Like so earlier today, and when I saw this question, I just did a quick Google search because I already had some in my head, but I'm like, you know what? I'm sure there's quite a few that I don't even remember. And honestly, yeah, going through the list, I'm like, oh, like that was one I totally like blocked from my memory or like didn't remember until I saw that like that title card, that picture, and I'm like, oh yeah, like I totally forgot about that show. Like freaking like Cow and Chicken and stuff like that. It's like,
ooh, Cow and Chicken.
Just like,
oh,
yeah,
man.
Just like crazy stuff like that. I'm like, how did I forget about that? As soon as I saw it, I'm like, duh, yeah, like that show we watch all the time. Like, oh man.
See, this is what I'm talking about. It's too many to list that deserve the spots up there just from those eras alone.
Mm-hmm.
I would say if I have to do one from the 80s, and I don't mean that derogatorily, I mean like, because you said 80s and 90s, I would definitely put Thundercats up there. Thundercats is awesome.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you've ever watched it.
It was something that like I caught it once in a while on Boomerang, but didn't watch a ton of it.
Okay. I'll give you that one. And then for my fourth, I kind of want to do something a little more recent. What year did... I don't think that was 90s though. Let me vamp for a minute. Give me just a second.
Yeah, no worries. Yeah, man, there's just so many like awesome shows. Let me see if I can bring up the search that I had before too. Like freaking like Powerpuff Girls,
Shoot.
Johnny Bravo, Dexter's Lab. Like there's so many incredible shows from that time.
It was 2002, just out of the decade.
Oh,
I was gonna say Codename Kids Next Door.
Oh, dude, that show was so good. I wanted to
That
say
show
Invader Zim.
was incredible.
I wanted to say Invader Zim, but Invader Zim was 2001. I'm like, dang it, I'm still late.
Right on the edge.
Yeah,
I'll give it to Powerpuff Girls then. I think Powerpuff Girls is Craig McCracken and
Maniacs, Ed Nettie,
Gendy Tartakovsky were just at the top of their game. They were untouchable during that era. Yeah, Animaniacs is a good one.
Oh, and we haven't even touched Disney stuff like Darkwing Duck.
I said Gargoyles.
Oh yeah, I forget that's Disney, huh?
Oh, trust me, I would have put the whole Disney afternoon, but I was trying to get something from everybody.
Oh man, so good.
I didn't even put the Turtles cartoon in there. God, there's so. I'm telling you, we could do a whole.
The Mask animated series. Did you ever watch the Mask animated series?
I watched the movies. I never watched the cartoon.
Okay, I watched the movies as well, but I remember watching the cartoon.
Did you watch the Beetlejuice cartoon?
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
We need to do, if we ever can fund over at patreon.com/supergamerboys, fund our IRL show where we just like chit chat and like pick a topic of the show. That's got to be a topic, is this cartoon. We got to like rate them, like do the Super Gamer Boys official top 10.
A tier list.
Yeah, like, okay, here is the official Super Gamer Boys tier list for cartoons. Oh, man. All right, we should probably
be so fun.
We should probably move on with the show here. That was a lot of fun. Now it's time for the nerdy nudes.
It's now time for the nerdy nudes.
Perfect. I know you're doing it right because over Discord it cuts out your voice. Like that's what it does to JJ And since it just happened to you, I'm like, yep, Adrian nailed it, because it did the same thing it did to JJ, where it cuts out right at the peak. Right at the peak.
I have to do something since certain somebody's not here.
Jeez.
Picking up their slack.
Worthless. This first news story. So basically what we thought we'd do, we're hitting two big things tonight. The Starfield gameplay. I'll just spoil it all up right up front. Starfield gameplay and Kojima going for Xbox. I feel like out of everything that came out this weekend, there's a lot of cool things, and there were some big things, but the biggest things I think we can all agree are, Starfield finally getting gameplay, and then obviously Kojima crossing the line and going over to Xbox now. Like, that's
massive.
That's massive. So those are the two news stories we're going to talk about. Let's start with Starfield here. I have a little article from GameSpot to kind of like freshen your memories. Starfield gameplay revealed for the first time at Xbox Showcase by Eddie McCouch and Gabe Gerwin. Starfield is a hugely anticipated game, making the first single player RPG for Bethesda. First single player RPG? Oh, in more than 7 years. I'm like, they've made more than one single player RPG. I don't know what they're getting at here. In 7 years. It was the final game shown during the Xbox Bethesda Game Showcase on June 12th. We got an extended look at the game in action, including combat, ship creation, and the environments. It's certainly shaping up to be an enormous game, and the huge chunk of it was given at the show reflected that. Microsoft closed out the briefing, blah, 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 blah. Okay, it showed off first-person gameplay of the player entering a space station and vanquishing enemies with a machine gun and later a powerful shotgun. That sequence took place on the planet of Crete in the year 2330. The footage also showed off a lock-picking gameplay mechanic as well as some third-person shooting sequences. The footage also showed off some of the game's capital city, New Atlantis, which appears to be a big, bustling city where players will accept missions and learn more about the world. Starfield's character creation system was also on display in the footage, and Howard called it Bethesda's most extensive yet. There are optional traits that players can select too, and these each come with advantages and disadvantages. What's more, Starfield will even let players create and customize their own spaceships and then fly them. In discussing the size of Starfield, Howard also confirmed that Starfield has more than 1,000 planets, and each one is open and available for players to explore. Starfield was originally planned to launch this November, but it was delayed until 2023 alongside Redfall as Bethesda continues adding polish. Once it does, the next game from Bethesda Game Studios will be Elder Scrolls 6. We'll see. So that was just a really, really brief kind of synopsis of what was showed there.
Are you ready to become a martyr? Because I've got a take. So.
Okay, give it to me. I think we have very similar views on the trailer, and I think we might be in the minority, but it's hard to tell. It's hard to judge on the internet right now. But give it to me. What are you feeling?
I was not impressed overall. Mm-hmm. The way that this game was talked about to be the cure for human cancers and be able to give you an unlimited amount of money when you first load it up and install it and just cure all your ailments. Depression is gone when you play this game. It just did not live up to that level of hype, unfortunately. Yeah. I was expecting something along the lines of when we saw that Hellblade trailer and we were talking about the fidelity in that.
Yeah,
I was thinking, that, but in a Bethesda game.
Yeah,
and we didn't get anywhere near that. This to me, and granted, because they said that it was still on the same engine or an evolution of the creation engine, which is the engine they've been using for the past 1,000 years. It as good as this game does look, I want to make that clear. It does look good.
Yeah, it's not a bad looking game,
right? At all. It still has that DNA that makes it feel like a Fallout or like a Skyrim or Elder Scrolls kind of game. I don't know exactly how to put it into words, but you know it when you see it, and I see the old Bethesda DNA in this game.
Yeah, I mean, for anyone who's ever played any Bethesda game, like, you know what we're talking about. Like, there's a feel and a look to those games where within a second, like, you know it. Like, it's like someone could pop in a disc and blindfold me, through the title sequence, and then take it off just as I'm like running. Like, all I would need is like 5 to 10 seconds of running through a level and like doing one action and be like, yep, this is a Bethesda game. Because there's just a certain aesthetic and look to it, as well as a certain feel to the controls, like a stiffness, unfortunately, because they designed the engine more for just making huge expansive worlds, and it's not necessarily designed to be a nice fluid shooter or melee combat game. And so, yeah, man, it's not a bad looking game, like you said, but with everything that we were given from Bethesda and Todd Howard the last, how long have they been teasing this? 4 years, not 3-4 years now.
It's been a long time.
Like, they've made it sound like the next best thing since sliced bread.
And this game is gonna bring your uncle back from the dead.
Yeah, like they've talked about it in ways that is just like, it's gonna like blow your mind. Like, it's gonna, like, consoles can't even handle it. Like, blah blah blah, all this stuff. And I'm like, I mean, this looks like slightly better than Fallout 76, right? At some moments, not all. Like, some moments, like, okay, that looks good, but then other moments, it's like,
whoa,
oh, okay, like, yeah, like when it showed those third person views or it's fighting, it's like, oh, your character is still like the stiff little, like, aiming around. I'm like, oh man, if you're gonna offer a third person mode like they always do, I mean, they haven't,
like, you have all these people and you have Microsoft money backing you and your character still looks and moves like that. Are you kidding?
Yeah. So I'm right there with you, and I don't know if we're in the minority or not. Like, it'll be interesting to hear some feedback after people listen to this episode. But I was just shocked, because I know with any video game you should temper your expectations, but it gets to a point where, after like 3-4 years of just getting it hammered in our brain, like, no, this is next gen, this is going to blow your mind.
And nobody's saying, hey, actually, wait a minute, guys. Like, nobody said that. Nobody at Xbox, nobody at Bethesda, nobody said, actually, you might want to hang on. Everybody kept adding fuel to that fire.
Yeah. And on top of that, like, some of the things they announced, even like, oh, like the thousands of planets, I immediately was like No Man's Sky, you mean? Like, that's a game with thousands of planets too.
So you're telling me they're all going to be barren with like a couple of lumps of minerals on it? Oh, thanks, Todd Howard.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, until we get it in our hands and we play it, like, a lot more could still happen. They don't have a date announced for it. Like, they could add a lot more in the next year, but it was shockingly just very
mediocre.
Mediocre to us, apparently, both of us, not just me, but both of us, and it was a bummer. Again, don't think we're saying it's bad, because that's all I've seen on the internet, everyone like going to defend them and be like, they had to work through COVID and blah blah blah, and they worked through harsh conditions and they've blood, sweat, and tears. I'm like, I'm not saying,
you know,
like,
who
they
else
haven't.
did? You know who else did? The Callisto Protocol team, and that game looks phenomenal.
Look at that game! Holy crap! So it's just like, I'm not saying it looks bad. It's just, man, when they need to work on their marketing team to, like, not just get people hyped, but also set proper expectations. Like, there is a fine balance. Like, obviously you don't want to underwhelm, or you don't want to undersell your product, because then you're not going to sell anything. But you can't just be like, this is the digital Jesus Christ. He's going to save you. and then give us this. Like, I don't understand what they expected.
I absolutely could have done without the 1,000 planets. You know, you can go to 1,000 different planets. I think it would have been a much better idea for them to say, this is our galaxy here. Yeah. These, what were they saying? Like 9 planets you were in? Or something like that.
Yeah, like a handful
These
of planets.
9 planets are the ones that you're going to be able to travel between at any time.
And they're all packed filled with stuff.
Yeah. They're full of quests, they're full of minerals, they're full of monsters, caves, all of that. Stuff that'll take you dozens of hours to explore with each planet. That would have been much better than, oh, you can go to planet Zebulon 836 and get maybe 2 lumps of iron and then fly on back. I'm good.
Yeah.
And again, we're saying this to say, we don't want the game to be bad. You never want a game to be bad or to fail. Never that. But based on what we've seen, we got to call a spade, and that's what it's looking to me like right now. So,
yeah. So unless there's some serious changes in the next year, because that's everything that was shown at the conference, they said is coming out in the next 12 months. So even though we don't have a date, we know hypothetically it should come out in the next year.
Mm-hmm.
They got some.
I'm gonna play it.
They got some work. Oh yeah, I mean it's coming to Game Pass.
It's on Game
free.
Pass. I'm gonna play it.
I'll at least give it a shot.
That goes without saying. Yeah.
That's the nice thing about Game Pass. I don't have to drop $60 and be disappointed. I just have to spend 5 minutes downloading it and then be disappointed.
Yeah. And then if I don't like it, I can just delete it and go about my day.
Yeah. Move on. Crazy. Yeah. It's kind of a bummer. That's what it's come to, after all these years. It's like, oh, well, that was like a fart in the wind, but I don't know. We'll see. Hopefully it's not.
This game is gonna make aliens come down to Earth and ask, "What is this game?"
Yeah, it hasn't gone gold, so they're obviously not done. They're still working hard on it. So hopefully we see some more. Now that they've showed their first gameplay, I hope this kind of almost turns on the faucet to where over the next year we are seeing an update every couple months, because they've been very hush hush and quiet because they were building hype. So for years they've just been doing the whole thing ooh, here's a little tease, here's a picture of outer space, and here's our logo and all this goofy stuff just to build hype. Now that we've seen this, I hope that means every couple months we can get an update oh, check out this new feature we've added, and check out this, or here's another footage from another planet, and maybe actually show us all these thousands of planets are packed full of stuff somehow. I don't know. That would be next gen if they could fill all those thousands of planets with stuff. Okay, cool.
That would be
be awesome.
Seriously impressive.
But
right now we're just getting, this is a photo of our team when they started development on Starfield, and this is a photo of them today. They all look 10 years younger because this game de-ages your cells. It's that good.
I thought you were going to say 10 years older because of all the hell they've been through making.
No, that's how good it is. It de-ages you. It takes away your wrinkles.
Even after the stress, they've just de-aged. Oh wow, I want to make another one. I want to make Starfield 2. Oh man. All right. So this second news story here. Hideo Kojima announces Xbox partnership to create a game I have always wanted to make. That was in quotes from Kojima. This is from Matt Kimmel at IGN. During the Xbox Bethesda game showcase, Hideo Kojima announced he will be partnering with Xbox on a game Kojima says he's always wanted to make. In a new partnership announcement, Kojima says that they are in early stages of a new concept that will incorporate Microsoft's cutting-edge technology and change in the industry's trends in some capacity. It's a completely new game that no one has ever experienced or seen before, Kojima says. I've waited very long for the day when I could finally start to create it. While details are sparse, Kojima says this never-before-seen concept will be a challenge for him to make. Could this be another new genre for Kojima following stealth action, horror, and the strand of Death Stranding? Kojima's new partnership was part of the Xbox and Bethesda showcase, which featured several new announcements, including Persona, blah, blah, blah. Okay, that's just more stuff about the conference. But, and I do have another little article here. Apparently, Kojima Productions had to tweet out and say that even after the announcement of our partnership with Microsoft using the cloud technology, people have asked about our collaboration with Sony Interactive Entertainment. Please be assured that we will continue to have a very good partnership with PlayStation as well. So they're not abandoning PlayStation. They're dipping their toes in both pools, which is awesome.
You know why they had to do that? Because of stupid fanboys.
Oh,
what do you mean? You're leaving PlayStation?
Yeah.
You're disrespecting us on PlayStation?
I'm on Reddit. I'm on the Death Stranding Reddit. And you know what? And the Metal Gear Reddit, both of them. It's just, that's what it's been. And I've just been like, oh, people are so stupid. He's an independent developer. He can work for whoever he wants. He can make a game for Linux. Who cares? He can make a game for your iPhone. I don't know. He can do whatever the heck he wants.
He can make another Game Boy game if he wanted to. He has enough money. He can just use the carts. He can have Nintendo make more carts.
Yeah, I don't understand. And I'm saying this as a PlayStation fanboy, okay? It's okay that he's going to Xbox. So if it means Hideo Kojima can make cool games, who cares? I have a Final Fantasy VII poster. I have the PlayStation. I have Death Stranding. I have the PlayStation logo there. I got the wall of Kojima behind me. I love PlayStation, but you know what? I even got a freaking PS1 sitting here, okay? But you know what? If he wants to make a game for Xbox, good, because more games means more awesome stuff for more people, and who cares where it's at? Because you go to your friends.
Video games are cool.
Video games are cool. Like, go play it. Like, buy an Xbox or go to your friend's house, hang out with your friends once in a while. Maybe play their Xbox instead of yelling at people on the internet. Go make real friends and play their Xbox.
Or that PC you typed it on. Why don't you install Game Pass? Because it's gonna be there. While you're there, why don't you play something else?
Yeah, I don't know. Sorry for that little rant. I got a little heated there, but like the internet just blew up with all these like pissed off PlayStation fanboy, or like with all the announcements of all the PlayStation games coming to PC. Like Spider-Man got announced. Spider-Man and Spider-Man Miles Morales are both coming to PC this fall. And I'm like,
rad.
Awesome. Everyone needs to play them. Like, why wouldn't we? And what that means is, I mean, this is different than the Kojima situation. Now I'm just on a whole nother tangent with Sony. If people on PC are buying these PlayStation games, that money is still going back to PlayStation to make cool PlayStation stuff. So who cares who's playing it?
And it also guarantees your sequel.
Yeah, exactly.
You keep forgetting this.
Oh my gosh. I hate, as a PlayStation fanboy, it pisses me off how other PlayStation fanboys are, because it's just like, you gotta be kidding me. I don't know.
They're so weird, dude. Like, Sony doesn't care about you if you're not giving them money. They don't care about you.
Yeah.
You are a dollar sign to them. Why are you going to the mat and fighting for them? It's I don't.
Yeah.
It's weird. It's weird behavior.
Doesn't make sense. But anyways, yeah, with Kojima, he's partnering with Xbox because of their cloud services, which is extremely interesting because that's something that I don't think any game has really dabbled in, other than people use
Crackdown, and that flopped.
people use the cloud to stream games, but what did Crackdown use the cloud for?
They were gonna use the cloud for I don't even know what aspect of the game it was, but that was their big, like, oh, this is our big hook. We're gonna use the cloud to use extra computing power and add more effects to the game. And that never happened, and they scaled it back, and then they just made a regular game. And it turns out without that gimmick, they didn't really have much of a game to make, and it flopped.
A Yoga Archangel in the chat says, thanks for choosing our console, but all the S's are dollar signs. So true. That's what every company is like. They don't care.
All of them. And I know I said Sony, but all of them.
Xbox,
Sony doesn't care about you. Microsoft doesn't care about you. Nintendo does not care about you. They are a business. They are here to make money off of you. Don't waste your time pledging allegiance to these companies, dude. Don't do it. You will not get anything in return.
Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Other than just more and more heartbreak.
More heartbreak.
But yeah, so I'm interested in how he's going to use it. I mean, in my head, like, I can't even envision what it would even look like, but he's interested in doing something funky with the cloud, and we all know
he's the only one that I fully believe and trust that will actually get something going. And I am so interested to see how he uses it.
Yeah, it'll definitely be interesting. Now I wonder if it's my there was also another news story last week right before Summer Game Fest. A lot of people thought it was a leak, like, oh shoot, it got leaked before Summer Game Fest. It was supposed to be shown there. We didn't see it at all, so I don't know whether they decided not to show it, or maybe it's still it's part of that super early development thing that he was talking about with Xbox. But there was a video leaked to a reporter. The reporter didn't leak the video, but he wrote an article about the contents of the video. And it was Tom Henderson for Try Hard Guides. I guess he got something that had it was, wow, I can't even find it. Is early footage showing a third-person character played by Margaret Qualley, who was also in Death Stranding.
Mama.
Yeah, Mama. Exploring a dark corridor using a flashlight. The footage reportedly ends with a jump scare, a game over screen, and the title screen, which says overdose. So it's like, again, that could be a working title. And after he published this article on his thing, he actually got a formal letter from Kojima Productions asking him to, remove this content from the internet, which he obviously did not. But very interesting.
But
so I don't know. Do you think that? Oh, go ahead. What were you going to ask?
Oh, I think I was going to ask what you were going to say was, do you think that this is the Xbox game? Because I feel like the ink is not even dry on the letter of intent yet. You think this was something he was working on, and then Microsoft saw it and said, "Actually, do you want to do that with us?" Like it was something he already had brewing.
I think so, because here's the deal with. I mean, he's potentially a big enough studio. He could have a couple games going, right? Norman Reedus kind of let slip in an interview a few weeks ago, which we talked about, that Death Stranding 2 is a thing. And I assume that will be with PlayStation. I can't imagine they'd make the first one for PlayStation, the second one for Xbox, although it's happening with Senua's Saga, that originally was a PlayStation game, and then once the studio got bought by Xbox, then it went to Xbox. But
I mean, it's not out of the realm of possibility.
Yeah.
The show is on Xbox and Switch.
Yeah.
And that's a Sony-owned franchise. So granted, the MLB kind of got that to happen, but still.
Right, but it's on everything, where I imagine the thing he's making for Xbox will probably be an Xbox exclusive. And so if that leak that supposedly came out last week is real, I think that is the Xbox game. He has talked, because that was one of the key words in his announcement, was saying, this is a game I've wanted to make for a very long time. I've always wanted to make this, always wanted to create this. For years, he's talked about making a horror game or a horror movie. He's always wanted to either make a movie or a game, and especially horror. It's funny because he hates horror. He doesn't like scary things. Like, he says that all the time. He's like, I don't like watching it. I don't like playing those games. But he's always wanted to make a horror game. And I almost feel like after making PT, like, it almost gave him that taste, and it's just been like basically just biding his time until he could finally make something, horror again. So
here's an interesting thought.
Yeah.
At the showcase, did they ever say the word game when they were talking about Kojima stuff? Because what if it?
Yes,
what if it is a movie?
He does say it's a completely new game that no one has ever experienced or seen before.
Okay.
Yeah, so that was a direct quote from Kojima. So
because I was like, what if it's a film in that Death Stranding game engine? That would have been something.
Well, the Guerrilla engine, though, that's a Sony. I doubt they'd let them use the Sony engine on Microsoft.
Well,
right?
if that's the case, then that Overdose game can't be an Xbox game.
I mean, I guess I don't know the logistics. I mean, maybe legally they could. In my head, like, Guerrilla might not want them to, or Sony might not want them to, but who knows? Maybe they could do whatever they want with it.
I mean, I'm pretty sure I'm almost positive that they're licensing.
I mean, and if anything,
that Guerrilla engine from Sony. There's no way they own that.
That's true.
And they don't own Fox Engine anymore because Konami owns that.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, what are we doing here? I mean, the only thing left is Unreal.
Yeah. I mean, they could have, whether they use the Guerrilla engine or not, which was, what is it called? Like, I forget. It starts with a Q, I think. That could have just been a proof of concept to, like you said, yeah, like maybe they showed that to Microsoft, and Microsoft's like, yeah, let's see if we can line this up. Because I mean, he finished Death Stranding quite a few years ago now, so I mean, he's had plenty of time to just like tinker with stuff. So it could have been something proof of concept they made, showed it to Microsoft. They're like, let's make a deal. Yeah,
I'd have been pretty hot if I was Sony. So you're using our stuff to sell out to the other guy? No.
I mean, you're right. They are licensing it. So, I mean, I'm sure there's, to an extent, some stipulations. But, I mean, yeah, I guess without seeing the paperwork,
I feel like it's kind of a known unknown. Hey, don't use our stuff to market to our direct competitor, please.
Right. Yeah. But either way, I hope it's a horror game. That would be sick, especially after PT, like what he did with that. Even if it's nothing like PT, like his mind is just so unreal. Like doing like a psychological horror game would just be so interesting to get from him. This with how his brain works. I would love it. So yeah, we'll have to wait and see. I can't imagine we're getting any update until maybe next year. I don't know. We'll see.
If that.
Yeah, it could be a couple years out, but we'll see. Get hyped. Kojima's making a game for Xbox. Yeah. Oh man, I was so close to just like losing it. But then what was funny is he was speaking Japanese, so I had to read the caption. So I like went to start standing up, and then it's like, oh no, wait, I gotta stop. I gotta read what he's saying. Gotta read it. Okay. And then like after it was done, I was like, yeah, woo. Oh, crazy.
Kick in the air.
So we're at the tail end of the nerdy news here. And the tail end of the show, honestly, we're it might be a little longer than what we've been doing. We've honestly been going shorter lately, so this will be our back to our old self. Let's say.
A little meaty.
What is your overall thoughts of Summer Game Fest? It started on Thursday. Technically, I guess stuff is still going on. Like I know today I watched the Capcom event. Tomorrow there's a Ubisoft event or an Assassin's Creed.
And the Capcom event actually wasn't that bad,
dude. Like, yeah, I was seeing
surprisingly
some more Resident Evil
one
stuff
before at E3 was awful.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. It was really bad last year. Yeah, this one was not bad. Granted, it's probably has something to do with getting more Resident Evil. You know, they shut off a little more Resident Evil 4, and they announced the whole getting next gen updates for the Resident Evil 2, 3, and 7. So if you have a PS5 or an Xbox Series X or S, you're getting the full 4K fancy stuff all over for those games with a free update.
Gimme.
Amazing. But yeah, so overall, what's happened so far, what we saw over the weekend. What are your thoughts on Summer Game Fest? Yeah, this is the first year we haven't had an E3, so
everything that wasn't the Summer Game Fest show itself was very strong this year. Without a doubt, the Xbox showcase was it had a very tough act to follow, and it did it with flying colors, in my opinion. I think Xbox knocked it out of the park. I also think that the Day of the Devs and the Wholesome Direct were exactly what I wanted them to be. I love that it is continually opening not only your eyes, Garrett, but everybody's eyes to the potential of what independent games and independent development can be. It continues to do that every year. Mm-hmm. It gets better and better every year, and we get more variety, more different voices from different communities. I dig that. So those two were definitely top of the line for me. And then right under it was Xbox. And then maybe, a few floors down was the Summer Game Fest show. And there were highlights in there too. But overall, it just did not hit like Keeley thought it was gonna.
Yeah.
To me.
Yeah. I'd have to agree with Summer Game Fest. So like the main show on Thursday, like the first 20 minutes of it was like, oh man, this is cool. Oh, because they showed off Callisto Protocol. They showed off that one indie game with Troy Baker. They showed off like a bunch of cool stuff.
That robot game.
Yeah, that robot game.
The Xbox one.
Yeah. So like they were showing off a bunch of cool stuff in like the first 20 minutes of the show. And then it was an hour and a half long, or was it 2 hours? It was 2 hours. So like for the other hour and a half, essentially it was just like nothing until the end when they're like, hey, this got leaked earlier this morning, unfortunately.
Sir. It wasn't nothing. We got Hot Wheels X Forza Horizon.
That was that was on the Xbox. That wasn't Summer Game Fest though.
Oh, that's right. Oops. I guess it wasn't there either. Yeah, I guess we didn't get a whole lot.
No,
we
didn't get anything. It was empty until the very end, and it would have been cool to be like, oh, whoa, like Last of Us update, but that got leaked earlier that morning, so we already knew it was coming, unfortunately. So yeah, that was definitely bottom of the barrel for me, because it's just like, other than seeing more extended Callisto Protocol, like it's like, whatever, okay. But for me, yeah, Wholesome Direct would be next up but by a landslide. Like, it's not like those aren't close at all. To me, it was like Summer Game Fest, and then like Wholesome Direct's way up here, And then,
I was trying to be nice, but I'm right there with you.
No, I'm not being nice. Like I love Jeff Keighley. Game Awards is great, and last year's Summer Game Fest, like previous years, have been great. This year is just that show is not having it.
Yeah.
Day of the Devs right above Wholesome Direct, and for me, Xbox was top. I think you had the other two showcases above Xbox. For me, though, I was just extremely surprised by Xbox this year. Because I feel like in previous years, it's not that they put out bad stuff, but I've just never cared. And I think this might be just because this first year that I actually really care, I think, about Xbox and Bethesda, because the ecosystem is so easy to be in. I don't even own an Xbox. but I can play every
you
single.
Technically do.
I can play every single one of those games because I have a PC. Like, that's so incredible that the Game Pass exists and that every game of theirs is like, it's always on. It's on everything. It's on Xbox. It's on PC. It's on the cloud, so you can stream it. So, yeah, I thought that was top notch. Like, there was only like a couple moments where I felt like it slowed down a little bit, but it was like for like literally a moment, like a breath. It felt like, or like maybe one trailer, so for about 45 seconds, I was like, and then like the next thing came in, I'm like, whoa, like that's crazy. What? But
one negative about the Xbox Bethesda showcase is I wish they would have had like the Wholesome Direct, those quick, what was like a 10-second little pause right there where it tells you to take a deep breath.
Yeah.
All right, now let's go to the next thing.
Yeah, like every 5 minutes, they're like, okay, take a deep breath, breathe in, breathe out. Yeah, Xbox needed that because it was this hype like the whole time, it seemed like. And then, as far as Day of the Devs and Wholesome Direct, those were incredible. More and more, I am falling into the trap of the snares of indie games, and I'm loving it. It's fantastic. Like, I wish listed a bunch of games, and I'm going to be talking about it in the Watcha Playin section briefly, like about some of the demos I played. I went through and wish listed a bunch of them, played a bunch of the demos for those games, and they're so good. Like, I am so excited about all these indie games that are coming out. And and the demos I played were all so incredible. So I was pleasantly surprised by those two, extremely surprised by Xbox, and then extremely surprised in a negative way about Summer Game Fest, because I had higher hopes for that, I guess. But
I have a feeling that one of these What You're Playing, you and I are going to be talking about the same thing.
Oh yeah, I think so. I think so too. Cool. Well, unless you have something else to say about, again, overall thoughts of Summer Game Fest.
About 80% of it, the whole thing was great.
Okay.
So it's a solid B.
Solid B. All right. Of the whole event, you mean? Like the whole weekend, like Thursday to
of
Sunday.
The whole weekend. Yeah, out of all the events, 80% of it pretty much. Because the showcase itself made up about 20% of everything. So yeah.
Yeah. Sweet.
Cool B.
Sweet. All right. Well, that's it for the Nerdy Nudes this week. Now it is time for the Patreon ad. All right, this is the part of the show where I tell you to go to patreon.com/supergamerboys. Support us over there if you love what we do. If you've been watching any of our YouTube content from Summer Game Fest and you're like, wow, they put in a lot of effort on that, and I want to help support them, and I enjoy their podcast. I want to get more content, and I want to get it early and, before anyone else. Support us at patreon.com/supergamerboys, starting at just $1 a month. That's right, just $1. And you can get episodes early and ad-free. This show, as well as the Super Gamer Book Club. If you support us at the $5 a month level, you get the show notes early, so you know what we're going to be talking about on the show. Leave your own questions, comments, concerns right there on the doc for us to see for whatever news stories we're talking about or whatever the listener questions are. $10 a month, you're a sponsor where you can get the shout out in the show. $15 a month, Super Gamer Producer. You get all those other perks, and you can pitch a segment for the show. If you feel like you have a good idea and you're like, you know what, I think you guys could do this or should do this or try that, or, or if you want to pitch in, like Kojima once upon a time offered us, didn't end up taking us up on. Support us there. Let us know what you're thinking. We'll give it a shot. If you have a segment idea, we'll try anything. I mean, I think pretty much most ideas we've been given, we've tried or at least attempted to get started. So support us over there. We'd very much appreciate it. We do have a goal. If we get $100 a month, we're wanting to start a third show. Working title of Super Later Boys, which is just like sit down, chit chat, tell jokes, talk about certain topics, maybe do the 90s cartoon topic, stuff like that. This is a lot more laid back, not so focused on video games, and just a time to like have fun and talk with a little less rigidity like we have in this show. So support us over there if you want us to make that. I want to make it very badly, and we've been so close so many times to that goal, and then always fell short right before. So if you wouldn't mind, go check it out. Also, if you're watching here on Twitch, twitch.tv/thesupergamerboys. If you have Amazon Prime, it means you have Prime Gaming over on here on Twitch, so you can subscribe for free. Normally it's $5, but hey, for free. We get $5, costs you $0. Think about doing that. It helps us a lot. All right. Thank you so much for listening so far. Now, let's get back to the show. Alrighty, Adrian. It's that time of the show where I ask you, what you playing?
What am I playing? Good sir, I think you're going to have to hop in with me on this one. So speaking of Summer Game Fest and all the things that went forth, one of the highlights of that presentation was that there is a demo for a game that I had not heard of. I don't know if you ever heard of it, that seemed to just come out of thin air.
Yeah.
It's called Metal Hellsinger. And it sees you as you take the role of this almost like
a demon
rogue thing. Yeah, you're like a demon thing, but you're like a rogue. Like you don't really play. You're like a mercenary.
Yeah.
You don't really play for one side or the other. And the way that it works is you're kind of a hunter of other creatures. So you have an arsenal of weapons. You have pistols, like a shotgun, a sword, a skull that shoots fireballs. And the way that you do combat, the game is rhythm based.
Mm-hmm. And
they have literal, legit licensed songs from all these different metal bands and artists that like these are real life artists that have either licensed their songs to the game or they've made exclusive songs for this game. And the better you stay on rhythm, the higher your multiplier goes while you're killing the creatures. And the more multiplier you get, the more elements come into the song. So when you're doing your absolute best, that's when all the chords kick in, the vocals kick in, and you feel like an unstoppable war machine at that point. It is so cool, but it requires all your concentration. Garrett, I got a text from the other day from you saying that you played it.
Yes.
What are you thinking, good sir?
I was not sure about it at first. I love the idea behind it because I'm like, okay, I like rhythm games. I like the look of it. I'm like, okay, it looks like Doom, like the aesthetic, the world. I like this looks cool. I love metal music. Like I already listened to ton of metal, so I'm like, okay, I know these bands, I know these singers. I like this type of music. I'm in. What I was worried about is, even though I love rhythm games, when I say rhythm games, I love me some Guitar Hero and Rock Band, stuff like that. Music games, games that require you to be doing like 5 things at once, 10 things at once, where you're like not just, matching a rhythm, but I need to jump and turn and shoot and remember to change weapons and reload. I was worried. I was like, this might be a little much. I struggled with Cadence of Hyrule. As much as I love that game, I got like halfway through and had to turn off the rhythm thing because I struggled with it because it's just too much to maintain with like
to manage
the whole situational awareness, kind of environmental awareness that I had to go on with it. So I jumped in, and let me tell you, I didn't start off super strong. I stumbled a little bit at the beginning. I couldn't figure out the timing quite right. I eventually realized that I had messed with the calibration because in my head, I'm like, I'm putting it through a capture card. I was playing on my PS5, but on my PC monitor to stream it. I actually streamed it the other night. So if you want to go over to twitch.tv/thesupergamerboys, watch the VOD, you can see it. And I was like, there's probably going to be a little latency, right? So I did the calibration tool. I could not get it to go. I'm like, this sucks. And then finally, I'm like, I'm just going to reset it back to 0, like back to base. And then it was perfect.
I did the same thing.
I'm like, okay. So apparently the calibration tool just doesn't work at all for whatever reason.
I mean, it is a beta. demo.
That's true. But anyways, once I put it back, I was nailing it. And once I figured out like kind of like the rhythm that you got to get into, basically what I figured out is like you just shoot even if no one's there in front of you. That's what I did. Like bang, bang, bang. Like I just kept pulling the trigger. Like I know there's no one in front of me, but just to help me keep that rhythm, just keep that gun going.
With the little skull, that's how you keep it.
Yeah, the same thing with the skull, like the fireball, whether you're using after a while, I started using the dual wield pistols, headshotting those like dudes, like the big dudes towards the end.
It feels so good.
It's so good. It definitely takes a lot of getting used to, but by the end of the demo, I was like in it 100%. And I was just like, yes, I love this. And when you get that 16 times multiplier and the vocals come in, because the music's sick. But then when the vocals come in, it goes from like just sick metal
the next level.
Just epic. Like it's like, oh yes, so good. Like the female vocals that come in that last song, like when you're doing like the boss fight towards the end, is just like it reminds me of like an Evanescence type vocal in the background. Like, yes, give it to me. So good. Oh, I loved it. I was not sure about it. I was like, everything about this I should like, but the gameplay scared me. I was like, I don't know if it's going to work for me. And then when it clicked, I'm like, okay, I'm in. This is it. I'm doing this. So good. Love it.
Boy, am I glad it clicked for you. Oh, man. I cannot wait for that game.
Right? So crazy. That one was one that was at Day of the Devs, right? Or was that Summer Game Fest? I can't remember. I think it was at both, wasn't it?
No, I think that was Day of the Devs.
Day of the Devs. Okay.
I said Summer Game Fest because the whole
right. I know that.
Envision the umbrella being Summer Game Fest.
Yeah, for some reason in my head though, I thought it might have been at both, but yeah, I think you might be right. It might have just been a Day of the Devs. But fantastic game. Was there anything else you were playing, or was that kind of the main thing?
That was kind of the main thing. Still chipping away at Crisis Core here and there. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm also still playing. I don't know if I talked about it here, but I'm playing a game called Eastward, which is an RPG that is made by this Chinese-based studio called Pixpill. And I gotta tell you, I am absolutely hooked in it. It is one of the best looking games that I have seen in the last few years. And I am a huge, really hard, like somebody who's gone to school for art. I know when something looks good and I know when something looks bad. And this game is absolutely gorgeous. I have not seen a character model or a landscape or a town or city or anything that I didn't go, oh my God, how long did it take them to do this?
Wow.
It is phenomenal. The characters are really endearing. I am rooting for them to reach wherever their journey is taking them. The music is great. There's like 70 something songs in the game that the person wrote just for the game. Excuse me. And then the battle system is kind of like Secret of Mana, where it's action. It's not turn-based. So you're running around and you're actually doing the attacks instead of like it being more turn-based.
Right.
So that might interest you, Garrett. I don't know if you're adverse to turn-based at all, but yeah, it's definitely much more action-based. I really dig it. I was interested in it back when they announced it a few years ago, and it had taken them a while to get the game out. But this is, granted, it came out last year, but this is shaping up to be my game of the year this year.
Wow.
So far.
Okay. Crazy.
So I'll keep you posted. Of course, there's more stuff to come out later. Well, I guess not. There isn't more stuff to come out later this year.
No, not
so
much.
We'll see. I mean, if anything else in my backlog comes up and that is as good as this, I'll definitely keep you posted. But right now, I'm loving it.
What was it called again? One more time. I want to.
Eastward.
Interesting. Okay. Well, oh yeah, you've talked about this before. Yeah, I'll definitely need to check this out.
It's been in my one of my Super Indie Boys.
Yeah. Dang. All right. I'll need to check that out one day. Boy,
how about yourself?
So,
what are you playing?
Yeah, for me, that same night I played Metal Hellsinger, I streamed a bunch of the Summer Game Fest demos that I found through Day of the Devs or Wholesome Direct. So I did Metal Hellsinger, loved it. Then I went to Free Ride, which that was the one. It's an action RPG mixed with a personality test or whatever. And so I expected it to be more of a demo. Is actually a tech demo kind of thing, or not a tech demo, but like a play test. Like they're testing certain physics in the game. So there wasn't actually any game to it. It was just like, okay, here's the world, kind of run around. But what was funny is you go to quit and it's like, oh, you didn't think this was just a play test, did you? And it actually was like a little bit of a personality test based off of things that you did in the world, like kind of screwing around and stuff. Oh man, I forgot. Shoot, I wish I could remember what it gave me, but I got the results. I'm like, oh man, I was kind of like, I'm kind of offended by this. I can't believe that's not me. You don't know me. I was kind of...
You knocked over all these trash cans, you jerk.
Yeah, stuff like that. Oh, man, I wish I could remember what... Oh, right here. I have the VOD up on Twitch right here. Yeah, they called me a betrayer. That's what it was. I was like, what? Like, that's not
No, that's
me.
more of a JJ type of title.
It said I was curious, open, assertive, cruel, and observant. I think because I hit a couple characters.
Did they do anything to you?
No. So the mechanic they were testing in the game was like you being able to like throw. He has telekinesis, so he can pick things up with his mind, and like you can throw it around the rooms and stuff like that. So I think what happened is like I accidentally like chucked it across the room and it went bing, 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 and like whacked someone in the head or something like that. No,
accidentally.
No. I take that back. Now that I remember. Now that I'm thinking back to it, at the very beginning, there was a little girl with a grilled cheese sandwich. I'm pretty sure I was trying to give it to her, and I accidentally like chucked it at her and whacked her in the face with it. And I picked it up and tried to do it again. I like chucked it at her face like twice. That's what it was. I definitely, that's what happened. Because it said I hit two people, but it was the same person twice, I think is what happened.
And one of them was a child.
They were both children. Same grilled cheese sandwich, same child.
That's even worse.
So, but yeah, so they called me the betrayer. Felt kind of bad about that. I wasn't too impressed by the game, though, because it's just like, there's nothing to do. It's just like, run around the world. And I was like, you got...
I'm sure the actual game will have much more going on.
Oh, yeah. And I mean, the world looks interesting. Like, I'm like, okay, this looks crazy. Look, there's a lot of, like, secrets and hidden places and stuff like that, which will be neat. I also played... Then I went on the Paper Trail, which is that one that looks like the sheets of paper. You move around.
Oh, the one you can fold?
You can fold the corners down. That one took me about almost an hour to get through that demo, and it was so fun, dude. Like, I am so stoked.
I'd love to hear that.
It's really difficult, but it was one of those things where, like, as long as you just keep playing with it, and eventually, like, oh, finally you get, like, I did the same thing like 10 times in a row, and like the 10th time it finally clicked for me. Like, I just kept, it was like one of those stupid things where like your brain just needs a second
trial and error.
Yeah, to put it together. But I was loving it so much. I'm like, I need this game now. Such a fun puzzle game. And then after that, I kind of worked my way down. I started with Metal Hellsinger, went to Free Ride, then the Paper Trail, a little like slowly getting more chill. The last game I played was A Little to the Left. The demo for that.
Oh, you were looking forward to this one.
Oh man, that demo was so good. It's so simple. It's just like all of a sudden you're looking at a screen and a bunch of pencils just fall on the screen. It's like it doesn't tell you anything. It's just okay. There's just some pencils, and I put them in order from largest to smallest, and they give you it's like 1 star, but then it shows that there's like 2 or 3 stars you can get. I'm like, wait. What does that mean? That means there's other ways you can organize them. So then I organized them by, there's like these little pictures on them, and like you got to get them in the right order according to the picture on the pencil. Same thing. There's like a bookshelf with a bunch of books, and I'm like, okay, again, I just said like smallest to largest. And then it's like, okay, 1 out of 2 stars. See if you can get the second ending for it. And I'm like, what? Like, I spent the longest time on that one. Because I'm an idiot. I couldn't figure it out. But when I finally did, I'm like, oh my gosh, it's so awesome. So it's like just such a relaxing game with like really fun puzzles. Even if the initial concept is easy, like again, you can get 1 star and it's really easy. Like, okay, boom, boom, boom. Like largest to smallest, organize them, or organize this tray with all these paper clips and pencils. Basically, there's one that's like organize the junk drawer. I love that one. It was so much fun. But that one, the fact that some levels have like 2 or 3 stars, like there's 2 or 3 ways of solving, and I'm like, oh, that makes it actually fun and interesting, because your brain will go to the easiest one first, but then to like try to like wrap your head around like, okay, what could these other 2 things
be? Turn your perspective.
Yeah, I have no idea what it could be. Like, oh, okay, I see. Fantastic.
Boy, how weird. I seem to remember one JJ saying those kinds of games were dumb and had no point. You know, this reminds me of another game where it seems also that it's really chill, but you unpack things. Yeah. Maybe there is something to those games. I don't know. Maybe I'm just crazy.
After playing a little to the left, I did think of unpacking. I'm like, I might need to download that off Game Pass. If it's on PC, I need to check if it's on PC, because if it's anything like that, even slightly similar, I'm like, I'm in. I need that. Like, that sounds so fun. So
cleaning up your room in real life is a drag.
Yeah.
Cleaning up your room and unpacking rules.
Awesome. The best. But yeah, so that's what I've been playing. Like I said, go over to twitch.tv/thesupergamerboys, and you can watch the VOD there and watch me play through those demos if you want to, or if you want to try them out yourself. All those demos were on Steam. Other than Metal Hellsinger, I know it's on PlayStation and Xbox. I guess it might be on Steam. You could look.
Yeah, I think it's on PC too.
It's on PC somewhere, whether it's Steam or Epic Game Store, I don't know. But yeah, look up those demos, check them out. They were a freaking blast. So cool. Well, that is it for the show this week. Thank you all so much for listening and watching. Whether you watch here at twitch.tv/thesupergamerboys, here at youtube.com/supergamerboys. If you're listening here on your favorite podcast services, we appreciate you so much. And just the fact that you come back each and every week just blows my mind. So thank you for that. If you really love what we do, you want to help us make bigger and better content, help fund that other show, Super Later Boys, go to patreon.com/supergamerboys, and you can support us starting at just $1 a month. Get episodes early and ad-free and other perks at the higher tiers. And again, it helps us keep making cool things, and we appreciate it very much to all those who've been doing it for a long time. sgbstore.com, you can buy some merch. We got t-shirts, we got stickers, we got mugs, whatever you need over there. We had socks at one point. I don't even know what it's looking like right now. What's available. We got masks if you're looking for a cool face mask.
I don't know, we got stuff over there. We got
stuff over there. Go check it out. It's a lot of fun, and helps show off your love of the show, helps spread our show to the world. So rate and review us where you can, like, subscribe, thumbs up, whatever you got to do all those cool things. We'd appreciate it. Comment on the video if you can. Shout out to Jack Sriracha and Yate once again for allowing us to use their music. Remember, check them out on Spotify and Apple Music. Links to the Spotify streams are in the show description below. You can find us during the week at supergamerboys.com, Twitter and Instagram at supergamerboys. I'm on Twitter and Instagram at gmorlang. Adrian, where can they find you at?
They can find me any and everywhere at Homeboy.
All right. And, well, that's it. That's all I got. Normally, this is where I would be like, okay, JJ, take it away. And then he'd say something like, yeah, Garrett.
Ladies and gentlemen, for the Super Gamer Boys, thank you for another episode and another week of hanging out with us.
Yeah.
For me, Adrian Homeboy Holmes, and for, what does he call you?
It's different every week. Like, it's always stuff like Garrett, who smells like fart Morlang or something like that. Like, he always just comes up with dumb things for me. So you can call me whatever you want.
Goody Two Shoes, Garrett Morlang.
Okay, there you go.
We are the Super Gamer Boys,
and we will catch you on the flippity flop. Can you believe
JJ
it?
Sucks.
JJ sucks. Ugh. And Kojima's making an Xbox game. Woo!
The two ends of the spectrum.
The two ends of the spectrum.